Hey everybody, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Today we got another exciting episode in our series where we're comparing our Bodyguard 2.0 from Smith & Wesson and chambered in 380 ACP to other 380 ACP gun. But today we're going to be comparing it against the Beretta Cheetah X. Let's get to shooting. Okay, everybody, let's just see what we have on tap for today. So we're going to be continuing our review of the new Bodyguard 2.0 from Smith & Wesson. This is their new design that features double stack magazines and improvements. It's got way better ergonomics, allowing you to get much better purchase and higher grip on the gun from the traditional Bodyguard. And also, in addition to all of those features, it has improved side serrations, a better sighting system, and just an overall reduction in weight for the overall system, which is pretty impressive. We're going to be comparing that against the Beretta Cheetah. Now, the 80 series from, it's the 80x from Beretta, and this Beretta Cheetah series, or the 80 series, has been around for quite a while. This is their update to it. In particular, they have an optics cut on it. It comes standard with 13 round magazines. We're going to be comparing it with the standard 10 round and the 12 round magazines that have a little bit of an extension on them from the Bodyguard. Now you might say, Trigger Bar, this is a terrible comparison. You aren't comparing apples to oranges. And if you've watched my previous videos and you go check them out in the comments section, everybody says, dumb comparison, doesn't compare apples and oranges. But let me tell you, there is a method to my madness, whether or not you agree with it. Whereas both of these guns are chambered in 380 ACP, some people may be considering, which do I get? And of course, that's going to come down to which features are most important to you. If it's size and weight, you're going to go and should go with the Bodyguard. If you want other features, like you want to be able to put a red dot on it, you want a little bit more weight with the pistol, a little bit longer grip, and a little bit more capacity, I know, one more round, then you may want to go with the Beretta Cheetah or 80X pistol. Now, I would contend that if you're going to go to this size, it may make sense to, again, go with something like the P365 and 9mm. But if you love the 380 cartridge, you may want to stick with this. One of the features I do think that we're going to tell today is that the operating system of the Bodyguard 2.0 does quite a bit to mitigate the recoil. So it has more of a traditional tilting barrel design, and then it's really how it tilts that barrel where it mitigates some of the recoil in it, versus the Cheetah X or the 80X from Beretta is pretty much a straight blowback gun design. And you can feel that when you shoot it, that it has a little bit of recoil in it. So we're going to be comparing these, whether or not you agree that it's a great comparison. We're going to test shootability, accuracy. We're going to take a look at muzzle flip with these. And yeah, and then give us our thoughts and feelings on philosophies of use and how we'd use them and why you'd choose one or the other. Let's get to shooting. Let's first start off by taking a look at shooting the M&P 2.0. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos on it, some of the features that I really do like is that you can almost get at least my large size hands. That's a glove size, large / extra large. I can still get most of my pinky on the grip. That's due to a very high undercut and some things that they've done with how they have shaped that grip panel. I really do like the serrations on top. Has very good sighting system. I had to drift my sights over. I have people in my comments telling me every time it's my fault. Could very well be, but if I'm consistently shooting left, I want to move my rear sight to the right, which is what I did. So let's just get a few rounds down. We have 10 rounds in it. We're just going to kind of see it so that I can get a comparison and feel between these two guns. Okay, again, not shooting terribly for accuracy, but also not shooting the fastest on either of these guns. Now, we're going to shoot the Beretta Cheetah X next, and you will know that on this Beretta, it does have that dot on it, and you may say, hey, Trigger Bar, that's cheating, but hey, that's the way it goes. A couple of things I probably should have pointed out that are very stark differences between these two guns. The M&P Bodyguard 2.0 is now a striker fired gun. The 1.0 was a hammer fired. It's now a striker fired gun. The Cheetah is a double action, single action, hammer fired gun. It does have a weird safety. I have lots of videos on this where there's a false safety on it that it seems like when you are cocked, let's get we'll get around in here. We get it cocked and you put the trigger, the safety up just a notch. It feels, it's tactile. You can hear it. Let's see if you can hear it. You would say by hearing that and feeling it, safety's on. It's not. This is really, it has to be decocked all the way for that red dot to be covered, and then it truly is on safe. I don't think that's a problem. You just need to know that about it. Unfortunately, Beretta also does not ship their manuals with the gun, so you'd have to download the manual to read about that. And you can, there has been some disinformation, I believe, put out by some gun tubers on this, leading out with, I think, some bad information from SHOT Show. But we're going to start this off in double action and then shoot the rest of our shots in single action. It means the first trigger pull will be a long trigger pull, and then after that, a short, crisp one. And it looks like we did get a little bit of a hiccup with that. Pop that out, load in our next round. So we had a little bit of a reliability issue. I have done a 1,000 round review on this gun. I also do believe it's time for a oiling and cleaning. I found about after every 400 rounds, this gun needed a little bit of TLC on it. All right, well, let's just taking a look at those two groups. You might say, hey, trigger bar, you need to drift your sights over. I have sighted this in. I am probably just pulling that a little bit left. The groups are very similar, even though one is with a red dot and one is with iron sights. I don't think this mounting system is super stable that Beretta has come out with that. I think that contributes to it. And then you could just also say, trigger bar, you suck. And I'll say, absolutely, no questions asked. Also, just for full disclosure, I am only at about 7 yards. We're not shooting far distances here. Now, let's go paste up the targets, and let's just take a little bit closer look at what we can do when we try to slow things down and get the best accuracy that I can do with it. Okay, well, we've pasted up our two targets. I now have the longer extended one to give me every advantage on this M&P because it has that option. So we're going to shoot 5 shots, try to get it slow, and try to get it on target. Of course, the group that I shot before that may have been better. Now we're going to do 5 shots with the 80x Cheetah. I'll shoot with that. And then again, we had a malfunction. This thing is not performing well with the S&B. Okay, I think at this range and at this distance, you could say that the accuracy of these two is about the same. We had some vertical stringing, definitely related to me. I'm not super happy. I only had about 4 failures in all 1,000 rounds with this gun. I'm going to definitely have to go and make sure that that feed ramp is all cleaned out and that everything is operating on the Cheetah. We'll keep going with the testing. You may factor that in and say, well, trigger bar had 2 failures with the one and not with the M&P. That definitely, I'll let you come to your own conclusions with that. Next, what I want to do is I want to shoot a little bit further distance, maybe at about 15 yards, and see what we can do in terms of accuracy with these two guns. All right, well, first up, we got the M&P Bodyguard. This is at 15 yards. That's going to be a little bit more tricky for me. Let's hope I get some shots on paper. Looks like I settled down there after a couple of high and low. That's not bad. 15 yards, that's pretty good for me with just about any gun. All right, now we're going to go with the Beretta. This is where the trigger or the red dot should really help settle in. And you notice my first shot was near the target, and then the other ones, all four of them, clumped in the upper right. I think there's something still, like I have tightened and double checked and all of that. It could be my zeros off, but that was a very nice group, but that definitely is a red dot versus the iron sights on the other one. But I think pretty good shooting from the Bodyguard 2.0 at 50 yards. And I like red dots, so what can I say? Let's take a look and see what we get when we look at and we measure our muzzle flip. That's something I do on my channel. It may be useful to you, it may not be. Let's see what we get with it. All right, well, let's just take a look at these two guns. We're going to do some recoil, or rather flip measurements, to see what kind of muzzle rise is happening. We do 2 shots with each test. The first one with the Bodyguard, we got 15 degrees. That's consistent with other times at other points that I've measured it. Yes, this is very dependent on how I manage recoil, how I hold the gun, how I shoot it, but at least it gives us a consistent comparison. So that time we got 16 degrees. Typically I am right around 15 degrees. This isn't the most precise way to measure this type of thing, but it's something that I can do to try and at least get some objective measurement out of it. Now when we go to the Beretta, remember this gun is 2.3 times heavier than the M&P, and so it's odd that it only has 1 degree less muzzle flip than the M&P or than the Bodyguard 2.0. The Bodyguard does a heck of a time in helping mitigate recoil. So let's take a look at it again. This time we got 11 degrees, so that's a little bit better. But again, the Bodyguard held up really well against the Beretta. The Beretta is a great shooting gun, no doubt about it. It really is fantastic. All right, well, let's wrap things up in our comparison of the Bodyguard 2.0, which I mistakenly called the M&P all the time. My apologies. The Bodyguard 2.0, which we have been comparing to the Beretta 80x Cheetah. I also kept saying that wrong. So this is our M&P, or this is M&P. This is our Bodyguard. You can tell the size difference between these two. I don't think I caught that in the original part of it. Line these up. You can see that the Cheetah X has about 1 inch more of barrel. I think this is a 2.75 inch barrel, and I think this is like a 3.75 inch barrel. This is 23 ounces without a mag in. This is 9.9 ounces without a mag in it, plus the optic, plus the plate. So this is even more than that. You can tell in terms of thickness, I bet this Cheetah is a little over 1 inch, and the Bodyguard is about 0.75 inches. So pretty big difference between these two guns in terms of size and weight. And I think that in our testing, we saw that this Bodyguard does a great job. It is an extremely shootable gun. Out to 15 yards, it still did a great job, even without red dot sights, which of course make it better. The reason I wanted to test this with all of those features is because you can put a red dot on this one. You can't put a red dot on this one. Maybe that's important to you. And maybe you want something heavier. There have been times I've wanted a gun that has a little bit more heft. When I had the LCP Max, I wanted the Kimber Micro 380 that had a little bit more heft because I thought it might be more shootable. Well, Smith & Wesson did something magical with this Bodyguard 2.0, where they made it both shootable and very lightweight. So that's an important aspect of what we're talking about. But I still think, again, these are definitely apples and oranges comparisons. But if you're a consumer out in the market, you may be looking at various 380 types. I don't think there's much difference in recoil management. These two guns shoot very similar in terms of their feel. Certainly the heavier gun, you saw that I was able to get back on target just a little bit faster in terms of that muzzle flip and muzzle rise. But is that enough of a difference to make a difference? Is that enough of a difference that you're going to give up some of the concealability that you want with this? If I have a choice between these two for pocket carry, this is going to be it every single day. Now, later we may get into some ballistic testing, and we may see that this extra inch of barrel makes all the difference in a 380 ACP in terms of hollow point expansion. But I have tested some small barrels before, and if you choose the right ammunition, you can get hollow point expansion. So I hope that this discussion and this comparison between these two odd ducks, the Beretta Cheetah 80x versus the Bodyguard 2.0 from Smith & Wesson, chambered in 380, was valuable. Please let me know what you guys think. Please put it in the comments below. Hope everyone has a great week. Let's get to shooting.